Hello, hello, hello. Let me push this back just a little bit. How are you guys doing? I've got the live chat on. I hope this is enough light. I think it'll be okay. Hey, Plants and Passion, Wholesome Roots. Hey, April, VAKB, Megan. How do you say this? Shalaja. Angel, Daisy, Autumn, Patty, there goes the chat. Hey, Providence Farmstead. Oh, all right, Kate's Kitchen, thank you. Oh, my goodness. Hello, everybody. Oh, Portland, Oregon. So beautiful up there. Hello. Oh, Nicole Sandberg, I love hearing that. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. Oh, comments per person. Yeah, those overalls are awesome. Rose, that's awesome. That's really cool. Oh, man, I am wiped out. I think you can probably tell that. It's very warm outside. It's over 90 today. Hey, Deb, Dreamers Homestead. I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad you made a live chat. Tinker's wife. So it's gorgeous in Portland today. Okay, Big Bear. We love y'all. So yeah, Maya's not here tonight. He is not going to be on the chat. I think I'm going to lose the hat. I'll have hat here, but it's okay. He is working. Tomorrow is our last day with the excavator, and so he is doing the dang thing, getting work done out in the pasture. He's moved on to the pasture next door. We've got the woods cleared off on our property, and the house next door. I just came in from outside, so I'm still cooling off. Hey, Heirloom Permaculture. Oh, Single Dad Homestead. How are you? Dude, I saw you're almost at 5,000 subs. That's awesome. I'm taking my socks off. I just walked in the house. My 13-year-old cooked dinner. It's in the oven. He put pork loins in the oven. Wendy Vaughn. Do all heirloom tomatoes have that dull, mushy taste and texture? I've only had ones from the grocery store, and they're terrible. Heck no, Wendy Vaughn. Heirloom tomatoes grown at home are the bomb.com. I don't even eat tomatoes from the grocery store, for real, or from restaurants. Like when I go places, I order my food without tomatoes, which is hilarious because like so many people call me the tomato queen, and I like everywhere I go, I order my food with no tomatoes because I don't eat those tomatoes because they taste like disappointment. So, yeah, I chugged this entire jar of water when I got, like, right before I got on here, and then filled it back up, and we're down to this. So I might float away before the end of this video. All right. So how are you guys doing? Oh, Miss Sherry. I'll gladly blame my work on you. I'm going to call you and chat. I saw your comment where you said call, and I told Maya a little while ago I needed to get your number from him. So, oh, yes. So it is a wonderful time of year. It is an exhausting time of year. Anybody who does the farm thing or does even a large garden or garden at all, you know that this is the time of year that you work your tail off. And every year about this time, end of May, early June, I go, oh, okay, because I spend the entire winter forgetting how hard spring is, pining for the green to come back and pining for garden season. And then I get about a month into it, milking goats all the time, putting in the garden, all the work, all the stuff. And then I'm like, oh yeah, winter is for rest. And it's a good thing that we have it. So, I saw something that I wanted. Willow Daniel will be here tomorrow morning. Daniel is right now, as we speak, he is actually recording his live album in Coleman, Alabama. So if you think of it, say a prayer for him. Him and his band are there doing a live worship album at a church that's there. So that is really cool. And then he will be here in the morning. He'll probably leave real early and drive on over when it's still cool out. So we're excited about that. He's actually going to be helping Maya on the fences. He's going to help him build the fences because Jeremiah's finishing clearing tomorrow, and then it's fences. Single dad homesteading, 4820. Guys, we promoted Chris, single dad homesteading, a couple weeks ago, and he jumped like 3,000 subs, which is amazing. And he got his monetization. So yay, thank you, Lord. That's awesome. I'm so excited about that. And thank you guys so much for just loving to love on people. Hey, Kira. Wendy, I would love that. I would love to share some tomatoes with you. Oh, let's see. Chris, I don't know if you saw it, but Big Bear said, message him, please. Green Zebra Gardening, my friend, at home with the kids while wife went out to a concert. Good job, Dad, sending her out. Green Zebra Gardening started his YouTube channel this week, and he uploaded his first garden tour this morning, his front yard garden tour. And he's a super nice guy, so y'all check him out. He's doing some good gardening stuff there in Cali. Where exactly are you in California? I can't remember. Y'all, California is like a foreign country whenever you're from the South. It's just like way out there. I don't know. I've been out there more in the last couple of years than I ever was before that. Reap what you sow. Hello, how are you? And Green Dream Project. I love this. SoCal, that's right. Lakewood. I thought it was on the south end of things. But I love this community so much. I just see all your names pop up, and I'm delirious right now. I'm so tired. And so I'm like really emotional. And I know that you guys who are around here very much are like, you're always emotional, which I never was that person before. I used to like never cry over stuff, which is crazy because now it's just like I'm super tenderhearted. But I don't know. I was just out there watching Jeremiah clear those trees. He has just worked. He's literally just been working like 14-hour days to get this done. And I just was getting all mushy. So what is the first dollar that I made from my garden? I've actually not really made money from my garden ever. I've never sold stuff out of my garden. I've sold chicken eggs. I've sold milk from my house. I've sold that sort of stuff. But I started a farmer's market booth 3 years ago. The first year that I did a decently big garden. And all spring I did baked goods and sold my rainbow eggs. It's when I had all my chickens layers, and I sold like 20 dozen eggs a week. And I sold jams. I would buy berries locally, and I would use organic sugar, and I would make like organic jams with local berries. And I got through the first few months of farm marketing. And that summer we had so much just like transition and change. And that was the summer that I lost all the tomatoes and all that stuff. And I ended up getting really frustrated and deciding not to sell any of the produce out of the garden. So I've actually, we're going to hide that user from this channel because Mama don't play like that. That's yucky. So we actually never made any money out of our garden. I've never done the market garden thing. And I know we have a really large garden, but we have a really big family, and I do lots of canning. And so we actually use pretty much everything that we grow, which is not hard to do. Cool. I am organic gardening. Send me an email. April Westervelt. I'm so excited. Thank you for that. Yes. We actually are going to get our new animals from Ohio in 3 weeks. We'll be back in 3 weeks. 3 weeks from today, I think, is Father's Day, and we'll be back by then. So you guys will know then what it is. And until then, we're going to be busting butt. Mama on a budget. Yes, I still do homeschool. We're done for the year right now. So in the summer, it's more like going to museums. We still do reading and stuff like that. And then, of course, we're always learning on the farm, but we don't do curriculum in the summer. The Splinter, keep up the hard work. Just watching your videos are helping me avoid chickening out on purchasing my property. Thank you for the super chat. Congratulations on this next big step. It's worthwhile. That's awesome, Bare Bottom Acres. Yeah, let me go ahead. Okay, thank you, Chris. You got a wrench, man. And actually, heirloom permaculture, I'm making an executive decision. I didn't ask you, but I just wrenched you too. So, because the crazies are out today. Oh, Albany Mountain Homestead. I'm so sorry to see that. Yeah, Jeremiah has sworn me to secrecy on the animals. I don't like secrets unless I know them, so I don't like doing that to other people. So, yeah. Right now, though, I'm sticking to the Velociraptor line. We're getting Velociraptors. Nicole Sandberg, thank you. Sarah, we already have pigs, so it can be pigs. We already have pigs. And actually, our mangas are almost big enough to breed. They're old enough to breed, but we're going to be putting them in with Gerard pretty soon. So in just a little while longer, we'll have baby pigs, which is going to be really cool to get into that. I will tell you that there are 3 things that are the most guessed things for what the new animal is alpacas, sheep, and dairy cows. And actually meat cows. All of those things have been guessed. And I can tell you that if we were going to get some of those things, I've wanted Katahdin sheep. I've wanted alpacas. Like, everybody knows that. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with them. I would love to have Highland cows, and I've done a lot of research about them as like a dual purpose breed. I was concerned that you couldn't keep them in the South because it's hot, but I found a farm that keeps them in Alabama with great success, but they just have to provide a lot of shade and watering holes. And then Jersey cows. I've always wanted a Jersey cow. So those are 4 things that have been guessed, and those 4 things are absolutely on my list of animals I would love to have at some point. We cannot have all 4 of those here. We don't have enough space. So that's all the information I'm giving you. Yeah, the comments do go super fast. Sloth, Wanda. Yeah, I love watching videos of sloths. Why are they so cute? Oh, man, Rhino, y'all are hilarious. Thank you, Jenna Snow. I appreciate that so much. Ann and Andy's homestead. How are the butterfly peas doing? Mine are about this tall, but it took a little while. I did not soak them or scarify them before I planted them. I just went for it and planted them because it had been raining a lot, and it was raining a lot. So I was like, well, they're going to swell in the soil. The soil's really wet. But then they didn't come up, and so I replanted them. And now they're starting to come up. One side has more coming up than the other side does. She's Gone Country, Abby. One of our viewers mailed us the ground cherry plants, and one of them volunteered. So those were sent to us. I do not want emus, Rose. I'm scared of them. I don't know. Somebody told me that I really need to give them a try. And peacocks, I love peacocks. They're absolutely beautiful. I would not get peacocks right now because we don't have a way to contain them. And we have had a really hard time keeping turkeys because there are wild turkeys all around. We have 1,000 acres of woods behind and around us, and our turkeys run away. they always do. Like we had turkeys. We don't have turkeys anymore. Someone asked about them because they're in a way, like they go off in the woods and they go with the wild turkeys. And so I'm not getting turkeys again until I can contain them somehow. Even if we just have to keep them in the yard and clip their feathers. But even that, I don't like that. But yeah, please, if you have questions, put them in all caps to make sure that I can see them. Is the neem working on my tomatoes? As far as I can tell, it is. I mean, I'm going out there every day and brushing anything off that I see. And I sprayed them the other day, and I don't see the aphids on there anymore. So, oh, Sherry, I'm so sorry to hear that. That is such a hard loss, and I'll be praying for you guys. I know exactly how that feels. Oh, Green Zebra Gardening, I'm glad you're getting some love. I haven't gotten to watch your garden tour yet, but I'm going to watch it. I'm really excited to see what you got going on in your front yard garden. Is the heat affecting us, Rose? I mean, it's been in the 90s, and I mean, it's not great, but it's not as bad as it's going to get. I went out there today and realized that my little manga girlies, my pigs were rubbing themselves raw in some places and losing some of their hair. And I realized that their wallow had dried out today in the heat. And so I got the hose out and made them some mud holes. That's the only thing that was like, oh, crud. But we'd gone around this morning and made sure everybody had clean water, but their water's in a barrel, so they couldn't get into it. I'm going to look at maybe getting making some places where we can keep them a muddy spot and make sure that they haven't gotten lice or something like that. Yeah, Garden Obsessions. I'll tell Jeremiah that you liked his video. That he's really good at doing videos. He's done nothing but be on the excavator. I bless him. He has worked so hard. And like this morning, I could tell because Jeremiah is one of those people that like his mind just like goes all the time. And so really like mundane work like that just wears on him. And so he's been doing this nonstop for like 8 or 9 days now, just like morning to night. And I know he's sore from just sitting that long on and doing the equipment. But like, he's also this morning, he was just like, another day of it. We've had friends come out and help us though. It's been really awesome. Sue Harvey, I wish I had advice for growing peppers. I'm not good at growing peppers. I need some advice for growing peppers. Oh, Chris Hansen, the Etsy shop link. You're right. I did forget. I don't know if you guys can see me still, but let me look at that really quick. Can y'all still see me? When do I start spraying with aspirin? I haven't done it yet this year, but I usually start right whenever I transplant. I'll probably go ahead and start that because I am having a lot of pests this year. The pests are bad. I feel like they came out of the gate like hard this year. I don't remember seeing aphids or squash bugs in May. Last year, they didn't come until mid-June. And so they're bad. And so I need to go ahead and get the aspirin on because the aspirin actually like kicks the defense mechanisms of your plant like into overdrive because it thinks it's being attacked. So Edge of Town Farm Girl, you just like, actually I've got a sprayer here. Someone sent Benny his own sprayer. So you get one of these things and for a gallon, it's like, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's just like a couple of baby aspirin. And you want to make sure you get the ones that aren't coated, like the chalky ones. Put them in. Usually what I'll do is kind of like, I have a mortar and pestle. You can kind of just crush them up and then put them in here and dissolve it in water. And so sometimes what I'll do is like, I'll put it together in the morning and then just let it sit there to make sure it's good and dissolved and then shake it up. And you just spray it on the foliage. And essentially what's in that, I always say this wrong, is it salicylic acid and aspirin. It mimics the plant hormone that tells the plant that it's under attack, and it concentrates the chemicals in like tomatoes, and it supposedly makes the flavor better. I mean, I think that it does. I grow really good tasting tomatoes, and this is just I would say I do it just like once a month or so, but I was reading how it can help with pests because it's basically putting your plant's immune system like on high alert. And so that, that it can help with pests and can help with disease. So I may try to do it like every couple of weeks this summer. I don't want to overdo it. So I don't know. I guess I can try it and we'll just let my garden be the experiment garden. I'll let you guys know how it goes. By Narrow Way Farm, April door, and I came across a cute sign that said God creates rainy days so the housework gets done. That is so true. David, I'm not sure if the aspirin would be considered organic for organic gardening. I don't really know. I'm not certified organic, so I don't usually worry about stuff like that. Cool, Ashley. That's good to know. It's good to know that it's not like total overkill. And dissolving it, that's a good idea. Just put it in some hot water and it would dissolve and then you could pour it in there. You wouldn't have to wait. Oh, I'm actually working. I just saw that Kate's Kitchen linked our Teespring. I'm actually working on some new t-shirts that I'm actually designing them this time. Hey, Jess, got some comfrey at the Great American Homestead Conference. Where should I plant it? Or Great Appalachian? I just put mine by my greenhouse. I've heard that if you plant it under your apple trees, it's good. I don't know if you have any sort of orchard out there, but it's very invasive. Hey, Warren. Country Homestead Preacher, the aspirin is just, I've always used it in the past as like a booster for the flavor of my plants because it basically it basically triggers the defense in plants. It makes them think that they're under attack, and it concentrates the chemicals in the tomatoes supposedly to help the flavor be more intense. That's what I read. And then I was recently hearing that it helps protect against pest and disease. I don't know what variety of comfrey I got, John. I'll have to send y'all a picture and ask you because I have no idea. I got a hunk of it when I was up at Shays in Washington. That was my souvenir from Washington. I brought a big chunk of comfrey home in a plastic bag and planted it in my garden. Clawfoot Farm, how's the book coming along? It's coming. I haven't had a lot of time to write lately. However, my oldest son is in public school and he plays football, and he is about to start his summer workouts, which is weights and running. And it's at 7 to 9 every morning. And he's 13, so I have to drive him. And it's in town, which we live out of town. We're like 25 minutes away from the school. So I actually am going to be in town for 2 hours every morning, like for the summer, 4 days a week. And so I'm going to use that and find a place nearby there, just somewhere that I can sit in and get a cup of coffee. And I am determining to use that time to write this book and get it done. So at first I was kind of like, oh my gosh, because that's kind of prime gardening time, 7 to 9 in the morning. But I should be able to get an hour in the garden before I have to leave. It will be darkish, but it'll be light enough to work. And so I should be able to get an hour in the garden and then take him and have 2 hours to write. So trying to make the best of it. Chuck, my tomato leaves are turning dark green and turning down. They are watered 3 times a day and there are no pests. Water less is what you should do. Tomatoes don't need to be watered that much. I water my tomatoes every 3 days unless it's really, really, really hot, in which case I'll water them every other day if they look stressed out. When they start curling or turning down, it's just a sign of stress. And tomatoes do better if you will water them really, really deeply every few days, rather than watering them lightly every day. Like put the water on the plant, and soaker hoses are the best because you can leave them on for like 30 minutes. But at the very least, like I usually will water one plant for at least a minute, so it gets good and soaked. Soaker hoses are really the best for tomatoes though. because you want to make sure that they're getting like deeply watered, because that's going to push those roots down deeper. Whereas if you're watering really lightly, you're only really getting the top part of the soil saturated, and so your roots are going to spread out shallow. So yeah, and they don't need tons of water. Oh man, Kira, I have no idea what to do about too much rain. That's rough. The first year that I gardened, I hand tilled with a hand like cultivator, like an 8x10 plot, and I planted everything, and then it rained for like 15 straight days. It was like the most rain that the area had had in like 100 years or something like that. And like I lost so much of my garden that year. It was no fun. Yeah, 30 minutes on the circle hers every 3 days, Aaron Parker said. That's pretty much what I do. Is sweet mint as prolific as your peppermint and lemon balm? I don't know. A viewer of ours, Rick, who has sent me some herbs before, just sent me a really neat curly mint that is super sweet, and I'm super excited to grow it. I would assume that anything, mint is probably pretty prolific. Oh. Kira, Heirloom Permaculture said 3 things for too much rain: organic matter, or organic matter. So that's maybe something to try. Yeah, the storms have been crazy lately. Just absolutely nuts. Thank you, Vegan Blonda. How do I find time for myself homeschooling? Well, I have an unusual life in the fact that I get to do some travel without all of my kids. And I know that that's not the case for just most people, and it wasn't the case for me for a long time. So I do get times to recharge. And I also, we have an unusual life in the fact that Jeremiah and I are both here. And so I think that in this season of my life, it's probably not a good example of trying to make time, because I recognize the fact that not everybody gets to have that. There was a time in my life where that wasn't the case. And in that time, I had to be very, very intentional with the time that I had without my kids to make sure I used it well in a way that actually recharged me. And I used to get up really early at about 5:30 in the morning to be able to have an hour before my kids, because for a long time I just let my kids wake me up. But then as soon as I was awake, so were they. And they needed breakfast. They needed help. I had babies in diapers. They needed diapers. And so I just woke up into demand. And at that time, I would get them in bed and maybe have a little bit of time, and I would end up vegging out watching TV or scrolling social media or something that honestly wasn't very recharging. And so I felt in survival mode a lot of the times. And so what I found in that season was that if I would wake up before my kids on purpose, set an alarm and get up before them, I would do better if I got up early. And if I got up and I had that intentional time, and I would read the word and even when I had I would read books, I would just do something that would recharge me. And same thing when they would go to bed, I would be like, I'm going to put my phone down. I'm not going to get distracted. So I don't know if that helps, but mostly there wasn't a way to make extra time. It was just making sure I was being intentional. Hey, Callie Kim. Y'all, Callie Kim and Gary and I are in the tomato grow off, and it is very exciting. And so many of you are joining along with us. So that's really cool. If y'all aren't already following her, I imagine that you are. I get that so much. People tell me that they're following the 3 of us, but if you're not already following Callie Kim and Gary, you should definitely check them out. They have tons of knowledge and information. Thank you, Lori Graham. I appreciate that. McClendon Homestead, will tell her thank you so much for that. Crystal Bailey about Vercillium wilt on tomatoes. I am going to be very proactive on wilts and blight. We deal with blight more than that, so I can tell you more about blight than Vercillium wilt. But Gary from the Rusted Garden, he has got some really good advice about dealing with some different sicknesses. And he's got, I think it's like a baking soda peroxide, maybe aspirin to mix for tomato sickness. And I'm going to be really proactive about sickness. I want to see how long I can keep my tomatoes alive. Because in the past, I've pretty much accepted the fact that here in Arkansas, I just kind of like, I'm not going to have tomatoes by August. And that's just what I've always accepted because I get sick because it's really, really, really humid and really hot. But I'm going to try really hard to be proactive. I know that's not like a direct answer, but maybe check him out for some of that information. Are we going to release our window greenhouse plans? I'll have to ask him what his plan is on that. I know he did a step-by-step video showing what he did. So if you haven't watched that, check that out. I don't know that he's planning on doing written plans. He did that video, and I think, it's going to be so different with each, depending on what you decide to use window-wise. Oh my goodness, barefoot chickens. If you could only grow 3 things, what would they be? Well, I'm not going to say varieties because that would just be too hard. So I'll just keep it broad. Well, tomatoes, obviously. Melons. Man. Okay, so like I guess I could say herbs, but that would be really broad. Herbs, if I could be that broad. But if I had to choose one, probably basil, which I know I don't know. I love basil so much. It's one of my favorite flavors like in the world. I love basil. Melissa Gills, anybody can make a YouTube channel. Thank you for your kind words. But yeah, anybody can make a YouTube channel. You just, the Rusted Garden. Country Homestead Preacher. If one of my mods could grab, it's Gary from the Rusted Garden and Callie Kim. Recipe for bug spray using Terra Shield. Lisa, you can mix it with witch hazel is good. You can mix it with water if you need to, but witch hazel is good. I'm actually going to make a video showing what we do for our bug spray because I'm getting so many questions on it. So I would like to make a reference for it so people can look at it. Make a list of the people that I watch or sub to. Yeah, I do share. Oh, thank you, Kim. There's Kim. She just did a super chat, so you guys can see that's her page. And then somebody typed out Gary stuff, but yeah, they have tons of information. Them and then Luke from M.I. Gardner. I watch those 3. I don't know. It's just crazy to me that like I watched all of them like very regularly before I had a YouTube channel. That's like where I learned a lot of stuff about gardening. They were my go-tos, my references. So thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that. Do I make tomato basil soup a lot? No, I make tomato soup. That's something that I really like to make. I haven't put a ton of basil in it. Like it's more, I do a tomato soup. I'll have to share this recipe with you guys. It's tomato soup with coconut milk. It's actually a vegan recipe and it's really, really good. I had found it once when I was doing a Daniel fast and you can use like jarred tomatoes. And of course I always have a lot of diced tomatoes put up from the garden. And I liked it because with it being a vegan recipe using coconut milk, it didn't have a lot of competing flavors with the tomatoes. It really just like made them shine. And you just like saute an onion and some garlic. And then it had thyme and basil, which usually I'm making it in the winter. And so I'm using dried basil. And then coconut milk and the diced tomatoes. And you just cook it down and puree it. Oh, so good. I might be forgetting something, but I think. Thank you, Green Zebra. I'm going to wrench you there, bro. Aw, Sherry, I'm glad. I'll definitely be praying for you guys. Coconut milk does make all soups better. I think coconut milk might make coconut milk is just really, really good. I just like coconut everything. Sarah, do you plan to put out a how to pressure can video? Yes, I'm going to put out a very broad how to pressure can video that really encourages people to double check on everything that they do, because pressure canning is something that you really need to know what you're doing. And I'm just going to cover the basics of like what needs to be pressure canned specifically and what you need to look for. I have not done that video yet because I just haven't felt super qualified to do it. Because I'm not scared of pressure canning, but I just don't know. Heaven's Essentials, thank you so much for that. Hey, the City Stud, how are you, man? So, Tracy, did you see my PM about the haulers? I did not see your private message about the haulers. I have been in contact with Meg Haller. I talked to her today, though. I'm so thankful that they were okay. I don't know if y'all saw their their video, but they had like a crazy thing happen that they literally could have been in a very, very bad accident, and they're now stranded, waiting to get their trailer fixed. But I'm so thankful that they were protected. That's just absolutely crazy. Wendy, thank you so much for that super chat. Yeah, the haulers, they put a video out explaining what happened. So I'll just let y'all go watch the video because it's really their business to share. But that just was such divine protection, like that just crazy. Oh, there's a GoFundMe started for the haulers right now. Cool. I didn't know that. Awesome. Yeah, y'all would definitely go check that out because they are stranded on their way back. Dreamers Homestead, thank you for the super chat. Do you have any advice on me starting my YouTube channel again after losing my son? I know YouTube has changed a lot since 2016. Deb, I actually have been thinking a lot about how to share advice for YouTubers, and I'm not 100% sure how to go about doing it yet. I could put the video together, but I think it would be better. Might be better in a format where there could be some interaction. And so I was thinking about doing like a Zoom chat or something like that, because I would really love to be able to give advice to where it would be needed, where it could be used. If you are not already a part of the Small YouTube Homesteaders group on Facebook, you have to have less than 1,500 subs to get into that group. But it's a really good community. And I'm still a part of that group from when I had less than 1,500 subs, because I was in that then. And it's a really cool community. I think that anybody who's trying to get started with like a homesteading YouTube channel, that's a really good place to get plugged into the community and start getting to know people and working together with people. So definitely check that out. And I'm going to figure out how I'm going to put some like collected advice together for people on how to get started. What are your favorite types of peas to grow? I really like magnolia sugar tendril peas. Those are probably my favorite ones. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that so much. Let's see. Yeah, that was crazy what happened with the haulers. Simply Jen Homestead, in a nutshell, some things have to be pressure canned so that they can, so that they'll be safe. And like basically things that don't have high acid, they have to be pressure canned because the processing time is longer and the temperatures are higher. And so like it basically is able to kill off stuff. So like green beans, you can't water bath green beans, and different things that don't have high acid. You can water bath can things that are acidic, because they have that kind of as a safety net. Oh, yes. Thank you, Kristen, about the Kitten George flag. Thank you for reminding me. I was looking that up a second ago and I got distracted. I've got to look at it here in my email. I'll have to go back and edit that video because I forgot to put that link in. Let's see. Her name is Rachel. Okay, and her Etsy shop is Korova Designs. There it is right there. How many Paul Robeson plants do you usually grow? I only did a few last year, and I did like 6 this year. Do you pickle any foods? Yes, Kathy, I pickle lots of food. I do obviously like pickles from cucumbers, but then also I do okra, pickled okra. I've made pickled beets before. I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to do some fermented carrots. I had some really good ginger garlic fermented carrots the other day from Whole Foods, and I thought I could totally make these. And so I'm going to do that probably in the fall when I grow carrots. And then I would really like to do like pickled quail eggs with beets, since we have quail eggs. And what was I just thinking about today? There was something. Oh, I make pickled noodle beans. They're really good. That's one of my favorite ways to use the noodle beans. I like fermented pickles, but I prefer like other pickles better. I think just because I really like regular pickles, and fermented pickles definitely have a different taste. I really like the fermented pickled carrots a lot. They almost tasted like kombucha carrots, which was pretty awesome. Oh, yes, I love sauerkraut. Why is it quiet in my house? Because my children are watching a movie in my bed. Because I'm in here by myself, because Sweet Maya is out on the excavator. So I let them watch a movie in my bed. I'm going to turn the light on. It's getting kind of dark. Hold on. Excuse me there. Okay, that's better. Yeah, I like pickled quail eggs. Fermenting is really fun. It's just like a whole cool world. Am I all right? Am I sick? No, Crockhead, I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. Like really hot days like this where you're working outside, they just like zap the life out of me. And I actually cleaned a lot today, but then I was outside all evening. I don't stay outside during the main part of the day because I'm really fair complected, and I will get sunburns. And so I actually only stay outside until like 10:30 in the morning, and then I go back outside at like 5. And, you know, thankfully I've got the freedom to make that choice with my schedule. I can do that. I can do the inside stuff during the day and then the outside stuff in the morning, in the evenings. But I get sunburns really bad. So I just don't mess with that. Oh, wow, you guys. Okay. And yes, I also have allergies, and I need to get my essential oils out and start diffusing them, because if I don't have, like, I can tell. Yes, Jessica Carter, I will do that as soon as this live is over. Finbar, thank you so much for that. Pickled radishes. I've done pickled radishes. They're really good. I really like them. The guitar. You see the guitar? I actually wrote a song today, or started to write a song today. I played until I blistered my thumb, actually. Thank you so much, Brenda Lee. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, I will be doing more devotionals. I will definitely be doing more devotionals. Did y'all see my guitar strap the other day? Isn't that pretty? I don't know if I can do this. I get kind of nervous. Pickled beans and pickled corn. I've never had beans and corn pickled. Do you do them together, beans and corn together? I've never had pickled corn. I love pickled beans, though. I saw Single Dad said Single Dad Homes? No, it was Heirloom Permaculture said that they pickled rattlesnake beans. And that sounds really good. I'm about to plant those as soon as my peas are cleared out. Thank you, Robert Hawkins. I appreciate that so much. Where do I get my compost, Shore Family Farm? From a place called American Composting here in town. They're over on, I don't know if you're local, they're over on Faulkner Lake Road near Scott. Thank y'all so much about the devotional. Daniel Jr. sing a song. I don't take requests because I'm not very good, and so I don't know that many songs. Daniel can literally play anything. Okay, yeah, I was trying to remember what it was I was singing earlier. So the way that I do music, I'm trying to answer questions to avoid playing. Okay. Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. All right, we'll check our email. So that reminds me, since I just saw Doug hop in here, we'll actually be at the Homesteading Life Conference this August in Hannibal that Doug and Stacy are putting on. Super excited to get to go and visit with all you guys there. I don't know if you're planning on being there, but you should be. It's going to be really, really awesome. Yeah. So we're really pumped about that. I will check my email, Doug, and we'll get back to you. Single Dad Homesteading. That's so cool that you're coming. I'm super pumped. Homesteadinglifeconference.com. Doug, do you have, is that that's where people need to go to find out the information, is homesteadinglifeconference.com. Cool. We've got a flyer. We're going to share. Any trips to California planned? Yes, we'll be there in September for the expo for Baker Creek. Okay. If I mess up, y'all. Take me back to the garden. Take me back to where you walk with me. Take me back to the garden. And I promise you won't find me hiding. You make streams birth forest in desert places. You make streams burst forth in desert places. You make wildernesses into promised lands. You make wildernesses into promised lands. Take me back to the garden. Take me back to where you walk with me in the cool of the day. Take me back to the garden. And I promise you won't find me hiding. Look at that. I'm so scared. So nervous. Like, seriously, I'm shaking like a leaf. Okay, that's the first time I've ever done that and sung live in front of anybody before like that. Okay. Courage. Thank you so much, North Star Prep Center. Natalie, hey, I channeled my inner Natalie to get out here and sing on a live. So there we go. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been trying to prepare myself because Daniel is coming tomorrow. And we are going to record Where the Wild Things Grow. And yeah. So yeah, I have to stop because I'm literally like shaking so hard. I do have really bad stage fright, I guess. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate that. So we're going to record a video of Where the Wild Things Grow for all of the people. What else can you talk me into? Don't get those wheels turning. I've actually never sang on a live before, so maybe that can become a thing. Thank you. Thank you, the Farming Pastor's Wife. I appreciate that. Yeah, send me an email so that I can remember. Roots and Refuge at yahoo.com. So, yeah, today I was like, I'm going to clean the house. I'm the worst housekeeper in the world because I'm eternally distracted by everything that comes in front of me. And so I'm going to clean. And the next thing I know, I'm like going through old boxes and all this stuff. And today I was like, I am cleaning. I've been outside so much and I am deep cleaning. And this is what I'm doing today. And so Jeremiah comes in for lunch. And I was like, hey, I wrote a song. Do you want to hear it? And so I started sharing to him that, like something else that I was working on. And he looked at me, he's like, that's really beautiful. And I looked at him, I was like, hey, I was doing laundry while I was doing it. He was like, okay. It's like, he said, is the next verse going to say, be talking about how you were going to clean. So there's so much to be done. You're right, Kim. There's always something that needs to be done. Eva, I attend a church in Sherwood. It's the church my dad's gone to a really long time. And that's where I go with my dad. Can you give a sales pitch for the Homesteaders of America conference for anyone that's on the fence? What should someone expect if you do or do not have a channel? Man, there's so many good things coming up. But yeah, the Homesteaders of America conference is this fall in Virginia. And it is a really, really cool conference to go to. I don't know what it's like if you don't have a YouTube channel, because I've only been once and I did have a YouTube channel, but I think that it's just an incredibly cool thing if you spend much time watching homesteading YouTubes. I mean, any of the events, there's HOA and there's Doug and Stacy's thing coming up. There's Baker Creek's Expo. Any of these meetups that are coming up. I know the Pratts do the Hoot Nanny up in Michigan. It's so cool to get to go and meet other people that are doing this. It's just cool to find the community and get involved in it. And there are really any of these events, but HOA is I think HOA is probably the biggest one. Rose said, take the goat class. That's what Rose is teaching. I am going to be a speaker at HOA, and there's so much knowledge. HOA is there are so many knowledgeable speakers there. And so if you go for the social aspect, there's nothing lacking in that. If you go to learn, there's nothing lacking in that. There's lots and lots to learn. So it's really cool. I'm still shaking. Yeah, Bobblehead Shindig 2020. That's going to be a thing. We haven't started nailing down the details yet, but we will get a date out soon. Yeah, at HOA, Doug just made a list. Joel Salatin, Stacey Lynn Harris, Justin Rhodes, Doug and Stacy, Rose from Wholesome Roots, Big Bear Homestead, I believe is doing a thing again. M.I. Gardner will be there again. We'll be there. There's so many. And that's so many people come to that one. It's really, really cool to get to go and just go around and meet all the people that you watch on YouTube. It's awesome. Yeah, last year, Hard to Hook, I agree. The videos of just everybody getting together, it's just really neat to see everybody in the same place. And yes, Doug photobombed everybody that he could last year. That was a thing. How did you grow your subs? We've been going for over a year. MJ Homestead. I've been just incredibly blessed in the growth of my YouTube. I would say I really want to put some information together. I really want to put some advice together for YouTubers. There are some basic things that I think could help a lot of people as far as video quality. You might notice, somebody asked me once, they said, do you only shoot in the mornings and the evenings because that's when you're able to get away from your kids? And I'm like, no, I shoot because that's when the light is good. And I don't shoot videos in the middle of the day because the light's garbage and it's super bright and it's just poor video quality. And so that is just like a little tip that I think a lot of people would benefit from doing. Like if you can shoot your videos in the morning or in the evening when the sun is lower down, you're going to have much better video quality. People are going to be drawn to higher quality videos. You don't have to have great camera equipment, but looking for good lighting and being like doing good angles. Like I was a portrait photographer for a long time, for years before I did YouTube. And so some of these principles are things that just apply. Like for instance, like this is where I don't know if this is, I guess, is this okay for me to share this right now? Doug, yes, I'm going to get to that. Like video quality, basic things. Look for good light and use good angles. Like don't hold your camera to look like this, because whenever people see a head that's disconnected, they feel really uncomfortable. Like that's portrait 101. Like when you learn to do portraiture, like basically you frame a picture in a way that makes your viewer feel comfortable looking at it. And so it's actually better to do this than it is to do this, because when a person sees this, they feel uncomfortable. Whereas when they see this, they might feel like something's a little bit off, top of my head's cut off. But it doesn't, like a floating head makes people feel uncomfortable. And so that's something that I learned when I was doing portraiture. Okay. Content and consistency and showing up at gathering and collabs make a channel grow. Being consistent is a massive, Derek, I'm making you feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So like being consistent is like so important. It's actually better if you are going to have the capacity to shoot 2 videos a week. If you upload them Sunday and Monday, and then you don't put anything up for a week, and then you do 3 Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like, and you put them all together, just like space them out and be consistent. Like one example of a channel that has had massive growth, only uploading every 3rd day, is White House on the Hill. Like he puts out really high quality videos, but he's like, I'm not going to do the daily vlog thing. It was too much. And my video quality suffered. And so he does every 3rd day, but he's consistent, and that's what he does. For me, like I decided a floating head makes people uncomfortable. Refuge 2019. That's just something that you can become aware of. And if you don't know and you do it, you might not realize that could be hurting your content. Like there are little things like that. Like just in portraiture, shooting down on yourself or shooting down on a person just a little bit is more flattering than shooting up. So if you're holding your camera like this, it makes people don't watch it as much. Whereas if you have to have an angle and you've got it like this, it's a little better. Look at your lens and not your screen. There are things like that make a huge difference in content. Like if you make even right now, it's tempting for me to do this and I'll glance down at the chat here to be able to respond to you. My eyes are going back to this right here, which is the camera, because I want you to feel connected to me. So like that's something that you can keep in mind whenever you're shooting videos. And I would really like to put this information together for people. And I don't know exactly what the best format to do that. You have to remember to look at the land screen during project. I still do it too. Because you're focusing, and I just got this new camera, this M50, and the lens is off or the screen's off to the side. And it's hard not to do that. But I'm going to make a video with some advice. And the other thing is, which is 100% like very important advice, is just be real and be authentic. It's better to not be an expert and be honest about it than pretend to be an expert when you're not actually an expert. Like it's better to just be real about where you are, because people can learn from you by learning with you. You don't always have to be telling people exactly what to do. If you know the stuff, then tell them. But if you don't, like being real is, people are looking for real. There's enough fake in the world. And if people really wanted to watch fake, there's plenty of reality TV shows. The reason why people are drawn to YouTube is because they want to connect with real people. And so be honest about where you are. and like, yeah, I would like, how do you keep up consistent content ideas? Ruth, we have a lot going on. And so it's pretty easy. There are days that I'm kind of like, man, I just made a video yesterday and there's nothing new to show. But I've found that people like just walking around and kind of talking about what's going on. Give me 1 second. I got to take the food out of the oven. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Don't want to burn dinner. Yeah, as far as pork loin, peas, and rice is what's for dinner. Yeah, life of a mommy, that's true. Oh, Tammy Gear, thank you so much for that. Crockett, I'm not sure. I have emails to catch up on, which is the story of my life. So, okay, but like with like being consistent can be hard, but set a realistic goal for yourself. Like when I first started saying, okay, I got to start doing this regularly, because what I would do is I would get into the habit of filming a bunch, but then the editing would back up. And for me, I have to film something and then edit it, or else I lose the train of thought. It takes me a lot longer, and I'm not as engaged with the editing. And so I cannot film 3 or 4 videos and then sit down and edit them individually. Like, I hate doing that. And so for me, I had to learn stuff like that, like film a video and then edit it. Also, find your voice and stop trying to do somebody else's voice. Like, somebody else has other people have different ways of doing things, and you need to figure out your way of doing things, because imitators don't make it very far. Like, it's best to find out who you are. I shoot very basic videos. Like, as far as editing goes, I use iMovie. I piece things together, and I decided that my take on this was going to be quantity over quality as far as editing. Now, other people have had success, even more success, going for quality over quantity. But for me, I didn't know how to do that stuff, and I was too discouraged in trying to learn. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do really basic, raw videos, and this is just going to be who I am. Because I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert at what I'm presenting. And so I'm not an expert in how I present it. It's just raw and basic. And there was a point where I started to get really discouraged. Like, I got to get better at this stuff. I could be, I would watch people like Peter McKinnon, and I'd be like, man, I suck. And I would just start being like really down on myself. And then I was finally like, you know what? I'm going to be okay with who I am. And I've started to make room for some of the creativity of who I am as a photographer to come out, and like going for more creative angles and like beautiful moments in videos. And I really kind of played around this week. I shared like a morning in my garden, like really early in the morning, whenever it was after a storm, and did a lot of like creative shots and stuff, but it was still really basically edited. And I'm okay with that. Like, it's okay to have that. Like, it's okay to have your own voice. And so you have to figure out what is you. And even with the stuff that I'm saying, like even with the advice about the camera angles and the camera stuff, that's just stuff to keep in mind that might make you have content that feels more connected and that people enjoy more. But don't even stress that stuff. Like, the main important thing is that you present who you are. Just present who you are. And, you might have floating head moments in your videos. It's not a big deal. Sometimes I have floating head moments in my videos because I'm carrying a camera around on a farm with small children, and sometimes I'm not paying that much attention to the camera. And that's just how it is. So, somebody said something about thumbnails. When I first got started and really started doing YouTube regularly, Bree from Art and Bree, she actually gave me a piece of advice, and she was like, hey, just treat your thumbnail gallery, like treat your wall kind of like you do your Instagram wall, and just make sure there's a variety, there's some variety, and that, they go together and different things like that. And so I just started making a note when I was videoing. And I noticed that the light was good, because the photographer in me was like, oh, this is really pretty light. Like whenever it's kind of like glowy and nice and filtered, and it's just like a flattering angle or whatever. And I will make sure in those moments to smile or something like that. And, or if I'm like crouched down, I'm next to a goat or a pig, I'm like, oh, this is a good thumbnail. So I'll just smile. And then when I'm editing, I just screenshot that and I throw it through Lightroom and put a filter on it, and that's my thumbnail. That's like just super easy. I knew that if it was going to take a bunch of editing and putting text over it, that I was never going to maintain it. Oh, the Fernandez farm. That's awesome. Keep it up. You'll be where you want to be. Good night, Kim. Yeah, it's hard. It's remembering to take a thumbnail is a thing. I smile a lot when I talk. Like, I'm like, oh, it's like smiling. And so it's kind of easy for me. You can tell when my thumbnail is when I forgot to take one, and I just have to go find the smiliest moment of talking. Jeremiah does not smile when he talks. And so when he forgets to take a thumbnail, it's a lot more serious, because he has like a really serious face. Young at heart. We'll actually have some aerial view footage of our garden soon. That is coming. I'm trying to think of what else I was going to share advice wise. I've got a few more minutes, and then we're going to get off. Sewing a legacy has funny faces and the screen grabs. Yeah, I recognize that I just smile a lot whenever I talk. So. Yeah, Sarah, I still want to do Whole30, but we have not started it yet. I probably will as soon as the garden really starts producing. So I would say that those are just some basic advices. I think that learning what is your niche and learning what is your voice. Also, figure out where your main draw is. Like when I started my channel, I did not realize that gardening was going to be the main draw to my channel, which I know is so silly because we have this massive garden. But I so am not a gardening expert that I didn't think that would be it. I didn't know that the angle that was really going to make my channel grow is that people enjoyed sharing the garden. And so that's been such a beautiful thing. For me, and incredibly rewarding, because I've just geeked out over plants by myself for a long time. And so getting to do it with other people is really awesome. But I think find where your passion is, like what you're the most passionate about, and share that. And I really feel like what are people looking for when they go on YouTube? They're looking to connect. They're looking to learn. They're looking to be encouraged. People all over are looking for community because there's just not enough of it. I think so many people are stuck in their lives, and they want to, they just want to feel something that's real. And so if you can offer that in whatever capacity, essentially keep in mind that you're sharing your life with someone. That's what this is. That's why YouTube is a thing, because you're sharing your life with someone. And there are people all over. The comments that I get, I mean, it's just the most humbling thing in the world whenever people tell me where they're watching from, and it's worldwide, and people in all kinds of circumstances. And there are people who are cheering me on like a little sister, and there are people who are looking up to me, and there are people that are in a hopeless situation and they're finding hope, and there are people who have been where I am and they're there to encourage me. And there's such an incredible diversity. And I think, yeah, okay, Josh, that's so good. The city said, I'm passionate about my babies, and that's why they're in every video. That's such a good example. Josh is doing urban homesteading. He's got a beautiful garden in his backyard, and he's a dad. And he's got really cute kids, but also they're just there, and they're playing with him, and they're engaging with him, and he's showing what it's like to do the urban or suburban homestead with kids. And there's this angle because he's passionate about it and he's playful with them. And it's so much of who he is. And so he's sharing that with people. Natalie Hates a Good Life says, I'm passionate about making the most of wherever you are. Like, her story has gone from her apartment now to her house where she's putting her garden in her backyard. And she's sharing this passion of, look, you can do something. And how many people can go find encouragement there? Exactly where they are. Chris, single dad homesteading. He's doing his homestead. He's a single dad. He's got his little girl. And he's sharing what they're doing. And so much of what he's doing, with his family, and you see him and his family working together, but he's building his house and he's doing all of this stuff and he's sharing, and there's so much passion in it. And so, like, I think that, like, you have got to be honest about yourself, what you're talking about. And so you're going to teach people. And some of you are going to be relatable, and some of you are going to be encouragers, and some of you are going to share your mistakes, and that's going to encourage people. And it's okay if you're not all of those things. I'm not an expert. I do have a lot of book knowledge. I've read a lot, and so I share what I'm learning. That's my thing. I share what I'm learning, and I'm just sharing my experience. And so I think, there's Hey Sow the Land. I love Sow the Land story. Like, they moved and are growing their food and living like a really natural life. Like, I feel really inspired whenever I watch their channel to, like, really, like, grow my food and really, like, purge my life of toxic stuff. And, like, you have to start thinking, like, what is my value here? What do I want to encourage people to do? And so, I don't know, there's a lot of advice that you can give to somebody about being a successful YouTuber. If I'm being incredibly honest, like, I credit my success to God, because I feel like that's where it came from. I've never done a lot of, like, promotion. I've never shared, like, I saw somebody said, you can put your links on Reddit, like, cross post everything, do all of that. Thumbnails, like, anything that was extra work, I never did it. Like, that wasn't it for me. But I think that Shelby Sheen, that is so good. She said, I really think the key to social media success is allowing people to fall in love with you. That's really, I think really connecting with people at a heart level is very, very valuable when it comes to social media. And when I go to meetups and meet the people who I've been able to connect with through YouTube, I literally cry my face off every single time we go to a meetup. By the end of the day, I'm just a mess. Like, sometimes, I'm not joking, sometimes when we go to meetups, like, I fall asleep crying, not in a bad way, but just, like, in a sincerely overwhelmed with emotion, because the heart connection is so real and the people are so sincere, and the effect of something like a YouTube channel is so much bigger than you think that it can be. And so, I don't know, when people are like, well, how do you have success with this? I'm like, be prepared to take your walls down, be honest, be committed, and do the basic things, produce as quality content as you can, do the best with what you have, just do it. It's better to just do it at the best you can with what you have than wait until you can do it perfect. So yeah, that's all of my YouTube advice, or some of it. So, Fernando's farm. Avon Leanne, yeah, that's really cool. I used to go look at chicken coops too. Matthew Ingram, I'll be there in 3 weeks from now. Thank you, Kathy. I had to Google down to earth because people kept saying that to me. I'm like, what is that exactly? That's a compliment, right? to look and make sure that I knew what that meant when we first started this. I'm like, that's a nice thing, right? But that's one of the things that we hear a lot of. Yeah, and I mean, I think that there's a choice. I mean, and the thing is that there is money to be made in YouTube. That's true, and that can be a motivator. There's money to be made. It can become a job. It's my job now, which is the coolest thing in the world, that this gets to be my job, and then I get to, provide things for my family for it with it. It's really, really awesome. But money's not. It can't be the most important thing, or you won't ever stick with it. It can't be the only motivator. Like, if you're not doing it with an actual heart drive, it'll show. Like, if that's the only reason why you're in it. And you can still make good content. Like, you could still make good content, but you're going to miss out on that whole community heart connection thing. I think there are people who put out a lot of informational content just because, and they're looking, it's their job, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like, when you turn on the TV, anything that you put on, it was motivated by money, but you can tell whenever something was created because it was somebody's baby. There was their heart that went into it too. So I think that shows. Yeah, you can't be perfectionist. That's exactly right. I had to learn that hardcore. I hate making mistakes, and I hate saying the wrong thing. And so it was really hard whenever I would say the wrong thing, and I'd be like, man, that stinks. But you have to learn that you're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to be human. But just be yourself. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. Somebody asked, I see Lauren responding to somebody, yes, I hand water my garden. It is ridiculously large. And someday I'm going to have a watering system, but not today. I'm actually going to be watering my garden tomorrow. I'll hand water it every 3 days. Makes for good prayer time. It takes about 2.5 hours. The Eaton homestead, you're hitting the nail on the head. I really struggle with the imposter syndrome. That's so funny you use that language. I'm currently reading a book. It's called Abba's Child by, what's his name? Dang it, I can't remember. Brennan something. Anyway, he talks about the imposter, our internal imposter, and coming out with that. Thank you, Gossmania. Oh man, yeah. Whenever you start, I think I'm in I can't remember, Marjorie, what I am on that test. It's IN something. I'm totally introverted. Through my kitchen window. I saw your comment, Chris, but I don't know who that was to. Yeah, people sometimes do fangirl whenever we meet, and they are always really apologetic, but I totally fangirl over Brad, and he breeds tomatoes, and he's really normal, and so I totally get it. Yeah, thank you. Brennan Manning. Did y'all say that because you've read it or because you looked it up? Has anybody read that book, Abba's Child? Oh, wow, Shelby. That's crazy. Do I have a video about how much work it is to maintain my garden? No, I don't, Ruth. It's hard to say exactly how much work goes into maintaining my garden, because I do so much of it as pleasure. I do so much of it that doesn't feel like work that it's hard for me to say. And when it does feel like work, we knock it out. So I don't really know what the average is, total manpower, because me and Jeremiah both work on it, and then our family and friends will work on it whenever they come over. They'll come help us. When we're trying to spread mulch or do something that's a big project, we have family that comes and help us. I'm turning people into huggers. Yeah, that love languages devotional talked about that. It talked about my transformation out of not being a hugger and into being a hugger. I totally hug people now whenever I meet them, but I used to not be a hugger at all. Do you have a video that tells how awesome of a husband you have? I do have an awesome husband. I think I talk about that some here and there. He is definitely amazing. Maya is working on the excavator tonight for whoever asked. He's out there. He's out there working until dark. It's still fairly light here. You can kind of see it's getting dusky out there. Jeffrey, I don't really put a lot of fertilizers on my garden. I put compost on it and rabbit poop. Yeah, I think my kids are. I think their show is over. Yeah, he does. He brings me coffee in the morning when I'm down there. He's a super sweetheart. I didn't love him so much. So one person that I wanted to bring attention to tonight before we get off here, and I got to feed my cheerins. Dang, I meant to have a link because I didn't tell anybody this. So I just talked to her before we got live. And actually, they go live at the same time as us. And she is super sweet. Let me see if I can find Parisian Farm Girl, my friend Angela. They actually just hit 10,000 subs. And she was super pumped. There's a link to her channel right there. And I was going to tell you guys to go check her out. She's one of those people that has just like a beautiful home and just like a beautiful life that's super like inspiring and romantic. And I just love her and what she has to offer and what she's showing. And she's got like a potager garden and just, she's good friends with Shay. And they kind of have a very similar feel, just like very romantic and stuff. And I find it very inspiring. So there's a link to her channel. The Busy Little House went live today for the first time. It was awesome. Awesome, Chris. I'll check that out. Oh, going to the dogs. I just love you. You're so sweet. Fernandez Farm. I love y'all. Roots of Refuge. I'm your younger soul sister and can't wait to be where you are. I'm dreaming and dreaming hard. Good. Keep dreaming for sure. Just, I don't know. Definitely keep dreaming. I don't know. I shared it in my devotional this week. We don't have to go over it again, but definitely keep dreaming. It's totally worth it. And I thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. Welcome, Tony. I'm glad that you are here. Jackson just came in and my children are ready to eat their dinner, and it is. Oh, I was trying to wait till Maya walked in because he was really bummed to have to miss tonight, but he made the executive decision to get the extra hour and something of work in. It's not even dark here yet. It's 8:22. He probably is not going to be in until it is pitch black dark. I actually have another devotional in mind, so I will have another one up soon. It's not going to be another 3 months. Peppercorn, pork loin, sweet peas, and rice. Marjorie, that's what's for dinner. Okay, so thank you guys. Please, if you would, go give my moderators some support and some love. You see them with the blue wrenches, guys. If y'all all just shout out, say, hey, they make this possible for me. Somebody asked in a group this week, if you like to YouTubers, they said, do you follow your moderators? And I was like, yeah, all my moderators are my friends. So like, definitely super thankful for them. And definitely go check out Angela, the Parisian Farm Girl, and tell her that Roots and Refuge sent you. Thank you, Green Zebra Garden. I love y'all too. And thank you all so much for the support about singing. And about the devotional and all that stuff. Blessings to you too, the Busy Little House. Good night, y'all. I bless you. Until next time.